And we begin with this breaking news right now. This is from the Mid-City area. This is a police chase. The driver wanted for assault with a deadly weapon.
Gabe Santos is in News Chopper 4. Gabe, where exactly is this right now, and what can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, good evening to you. This is going to be in the Mid-City area, Venice Boulevard, heading eastbound towards downtown, passing Manhattan Place. And this has been an interesting one so far. Fairly slow speed. You can see the speedometer there, almost unnecessary in this one, going only about 20 miles an hour. A lot of stop and going. This guy is stopping at red lights and then continuing through them. We do have information that LAPD is treating this as an armed suspect. This is going to be officers from the Olympic Division. I'm just going to remove the speedometer there as he goes through that intersection. A little bit of cross traffic there. Not something that you want to see in this situation, but you have LAPD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units staying very close to this one, passing by the Carl's Jr. and the CVS, continuing now southbound on Western, and again still at slow speeds. I'll turn the speedometer back on and you can see we're pretty much at 10 miles an hour. This one started at Washington and Bronson. Once again, this is a possible assault with a deadly weapon suspect. We are hearing that LAPD is treating this as an armed suspect, and now there's an aggressive maneuver around some vehicles there. Not quite going through a red light, but aggressively moving around some other vehicles. Jim Pollard, our pilot, is going to maneuver News Chopper 4 around these buildings here, and you can see LAPD kind of making their own aggressive maneuvers to try and keep very close to this suspect. Still, not going very fast, just leading multiple LAPD units from LAPD's Olympic Division down on a little Friday night parade through LA's Mid-City area, now making a right turn on Washington Boulevard. This one, just from these early indications, it appears that this guy probably, I would venture to say he's not going to jump on a freeway and go any long distance. He's going to stay in this general area. That would be my assumption just from what we're seeing so far. We've come eastbound a bit, we've gone southbound, and now we're going back westbound. This is probably going to be one of those pursuits that stay in this general Mid-City area. If you're in the area, we have the best pictures of this. Stay inside your home. That's going to be the safest place for you as this pursuit continues westbound on Washington Boulevard, passing Gramercy Place, very close to the Jefferson Park area.
Gabe, let me jump in with you for a minute. The fact that they're their distance, the fact that they think he may be armed, would this preclude them from doing any kind of pit maneuver here?
We have seen instances in the past where even when they're dealing with an armed suspect, they do perform a pit maneuver, but for the most part, here we go. All of a sudden, the suspect out of the vehicle, looks like the parking brake isn't even on, and he's making motions. He doesn't appear to be holding anything, but he is making aggressive motions. I'm going to widen out the shot a little bit because we're not sure what's going to happen here. And I think that goes back to what your question was as far as whether LAPD might stay back in this case. I think with behavior like that, you have to assume that LAPD is going to stay way back here and look at him, making very aggressive motions towards officers walking to the rear of his car. LAPD taking a defensive stance here, taking cover behind their doors because you really don't know what this suspect...
There are pedestrians there. Gabe, is there anyone in that car that you know of? Besides that man right there.
We don't believe there's anyone else in this car. We just think it's this one individual suspect. And look at him there, making finger motions with his hand. This is a very frightening situation here because officers do believe that he has a weapon in his car, even though, from what we're seeing here, it does not appear that he's holding anything like that. I'm going to be very careful not to zoom in, though, because you don't know what he's going to do. But you see multiple officers from LAPD pulling up, and now he's back in the car.
Is it possible, Gabe, that this car is somewhat disabled given the fact that he wasn't going very fast and apparently hasn't been since this started?
That's certainly a possibility, although visually, from what I can tell here, I do not see any damage. We have not heard of any accidents or anything of that nature. And judging from his behavior towards officers, this might be something where he's trying to maybe taunt the officers and keep them kind of close behind them. But after that episode that we just saw right in the middle of Washington Boulevard, you think we're going to go out on a limb and think that LAPD is going to be very careful with this suspect, keep their distance. A pit maneuver, probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's off the table for now when you're dealing with a suspect that's being this unpredictable and this aggressive towards officers. Now coming to an intersection now, Washington Boulevard and Arlington Avenue, coming to a stop there at the red light. Interesting that this suspect is actually following traffic rules, although, you know, it's really hard to tell when a suspect is following traffic rules but then getting out in the middle of the street and pretending to shoot at officers. It's just really unnerving and really unpredictable, really hard to predict, I should say, what a suspect like this is going to do. Now we're on Washington Boulevard, still on Washington Boulevard, approaching 3rd Avenue.